What if your anxiety isn't the enemy, but the doorway to peace? In this moment, what you fear most could become your greatest teacher. But what if the key to freedom isn't in fighting anxiety, but in understanding it? More than 2,500 years ago, the Buddha taught a simple truth. The storms of the mind can't be silenced by force. They dissolve through awareness. His wisdom wasn't about escaping life, but about learning how to live awake, even amid the chaos. Today, we live in a world of constant noise, deadlines, expectations, notifications. Anxiety has become the modern epidemic of the mind. But the ancient teachings of Buddhism are not old relics. They are living tools. Imagine transforming your anxiety, not by running away from it, but by sitting with it, breathing through it, and watching it fade like mist in the morning sun. In this video, we'll explore a simple yet profound tool from Buddhist wisdom, something you can practice anywhere, anytime, to calm your racing thoughts and return home to yourself. You'll discover that peace isn't something you have to chase. It's something already within you, waiting to be uncovered when the mind grows still. So take a deep breath. For the next few minutes, this is your space to slow down, to listen, and to remember. You are not your anxiety. You are the calm awareness behind it. In today's video, we'll begin with part 1, the Buddhist origin of anxiety. Because without understanding the root of anxiety, all healing is temporary. We trim the leaves, but never touch the roots. Buddhism teaches that anxiety and suffering arise not from the world outside, but from the mind's attachment and resistance. We worry when we lack, we fear when we might lose, and we suffer when we cling too tightly. We attach to people, possessions, expectations, and even our own self-image. And it is this attachment, not life itself, that breeds unease. Like holding sand in your hand, the tighter you grasp, the faster it slips away. Anxiety is the friction between life's impermanence and our refusal to accept it. The Buddha revealed in the Four Noble Truths, suffering has a cause, and when we understand the cause, suffering can end. That cause is craving, attachment, and ignorance. The illusion that happiness lies in what we can hold on to. But true happiness is not in holding, it is in letting go. There's a Zen story. A man asked the master, "How can I escape my anxiety?" The master smiled and said, "You are holding an invisible rope. Just open your hand." The man replied, "But I don't see any rope." The master said, "Exactly. Anxiety is what you imagine, and yet you still cling to it." Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference, it means freedom. Loving deeply without fear, acting fully without obsession, living with openness and trust. When we see anxiety as a teacher, it guides us back to the present moment, the only place where peace truly exists. The mind, like a lake, becomes clear when the winds of attachment stop blowing. Peace was never gone, it was simply hidden beneath the ripples of our grasping. That is the Buddhist truth. No one causes our anxiety. It arises from the mind that fears losing what it never really possessed. When we begin to see that anxiety is not our enemy, but our teacher, something shifts within us. From understanding the origin of anxiety, we now move to the next part of today's video. Transforming anxiety through Buddhist practice. This is where wisdom turns into action, where philosophy becomes healing. The Buddha taught that the mind is the source of both happiness and suffering. What we experience is not determined by external events, but by how our mind relates to them. Anxiety is not something that happens to us. It is something that arises within us. When we change the way we look at the world we see also changes. Imagine standing by a river. The current represents your thoughts, constantly moving. Most of us fall into the water and get swept away by those thoughts, especially anxious ones. But if we learn to stand on the riverbank, simply watching the current flow, the same water that once drowned us becomes a reflection of clarity. That is the essence of non-attachment. In Buddhism, attachment, tanha, the craving to hold on to what we like and push away what we dislike, is the root of distress. We cling to comfort, control, approval, and outcomes. But everything in life is impermanent, anicca, changing, shifting, dissolving. When we accept this truth deeply, the grip of anxiety loosens. We begin to live with open hands instead of clenched fists. To practice non-attachment, don't fight anxiety. Observe it. Feel it rise, watch it fall. It's like watching waves on the sea, appearing, dissolving, never truly separate from the ocean itself. You are not your anxiety. You are the awareness that witnesses it. Non-judgmental observation is another profound key. The Buddha compared thoughts to clouds drifting across the sky, temporary, insubstantial. Our task is not to chase or stop them, but to notice their passing nature. The moment we stop labeling our feelings as good or bad, we reclaim our freedom. The cloud moves on. The sky remains untouched. Through this gentle witnessing, the mind begins to heal. The space between thought and reaction widens. In that gap lies peace. And this leads us naturally to mindfulness and meditation, the heart of Buddhist practice. When the mind spins into future fears, mindfulness brings it back home to the present breath. Breathing consciously, deeply, slowly, anchors us in the now, where anxiety has no roots. Try this. The next time anxiety rises, pause. Breathe in slowly. Feel the breath filling your chest. Exhale softly, as if releasing the weight of your thoughts. Whisper silently, "This is just a thought, not reality." In that instant, the storm loses power. Mindfulness doesn't erase anxiety. It transforms our relationship with it. The fear that once dominated us becomes something we can observe, understand, even embrace with compassion. Which brings us to the final, tender layer, self-compassion. Many people are trapped in anxiety not because of the world, but because of their harshness toward themselves. They believe peace must be earned, that calm comes only when they are good enough. But the Buddha's teaching of metta, loving kindness, reminds us, you are already worthy of peace, even when you feel broken. When anxiety appears, instead of fighting it, try saying, "It's okay to feel this. I'm human." That simple act of kindness toward yourself is not weakness. It is the beginning of true healing. Compassion softens the edges of fear, allowing light to enter the mind that was once dark with judgment. In the end, Buddhist practice is not about escaping anxiety. It's about transforming our relationship with it. Through mindfulness, non-attachment, observation, and compassion, we learn that peace was never lost. It was simply waiting beneath the noise, in the quiet heart of awareness. When compassion begins to soften the weight of anxiety, a new doorway opens, one that leads not to escape but to transformation. The storm that once felt unbearable becomes an invitation to breathe, to pause, to return home to yourself. From here, we'll move to the next part of today's video, meditation to calm the storm within. Meditation in the Buddhist tradition is not about silencing the mind or forcing calmness. It's about learning to relate differently to your thoughts, to see them not as threats, but as movements of the mind, fleeting and harmless when observed with awareness. The goal of meditation is not to eliminate anxiety, but to change your relationship with it. When you stop fighting your emotions, they lose their power to dominate you. Imagine standing in the rain. At first, you run for shelter, fearing the cold drops. But then you stop running. You simply feel the rain, its coolness, its rhythm, its impermanence. Suddenly, it's no longer an enemy. It becomes part of life. Meditation is like that moment of stillness in the rain. The practice is built on two essential principles: conscious breathing and non-judgmental observation. Let's begin with the breath, the most intimate bridge between body and mind. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably or lie down. Close your eyes if you wish. Begin by taking a deep breath in through the nose and slowly exhale through the mouth. Notice the air moving in and out, the chest rising and falling. This is conscious breathing, not to control but to connect. Each breath reminds you, you are here in this moment, safe. As you breathe, thoughts will appear. Plans, regrets, fears. Don't push them away. Don't analyze them. Instead, imagine them as clouds drifting across the open sky of your mind. You are not the cloud. You are the sky, vast, unshaken, always clear beyond the movement. If you find yourself caught in an anxious thought, simply return to the breath. Feel the inhale anchor you. Feel the exhale release tension. Whisper gently to yourself, "It's okay. This feeling will pass." That sentence, simple yet powerful, is an act of compassion. It tells your nervous system that it's safe to relax. It teaches your mind that emotions are waves, not walls. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need incense, chants, or long hours of stillness. You only need a few moments of presence, moments when you choose to breathe instead of react, to observe instead of resist. Over time, something profound begins to happen. The anxious thoughts that once overwhelmed you start to lose their intensity. They come and go, but they no longer define you. Like waves meeting the shore, they rise and fall. But the ocean, your awareness, remains undisturbed. Meditation is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are, a being capable of calm, clarity, and compassion. Every conscious breath strengthens that remembrance. Every time you choose to sit with yourself rather than escape, you reclaim a piece of your power. And in those moments when anxiety feels heavy, remember, peace is not the absence of noise, but the ability to stay still within it. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." That peace is not far. It's as close as your next breath. Keep practicing gently and consistently. With each breath, you are teaching your mind to return home, to stillness, to awareness, to freedom. When meditation becomes a quiet companion in your life, peace slowly takes root. Yet true transformation doesn't come from a single moment of calm. It grows through daily practice, small steps repeated with care. Each day offers another chance to return home to yourself, to nurture the peace that already lives within you. From here, we'll move to the next part of this journey, daily practice for a peaceful mind. In Buddhism, consistency is more powerful than intensity. Even a few mindful moments each day can reshape the mind far more deeply than one long session done occasionally. Like drops of water wearing away stone, small acts of awareness create lasting change. So how can you bring this wisdom into your daily life? Let's explore some simple yet powerful practices. 1. Morning stillness. Begin your day with awareness. When you wake up before reaching for your phone or thinking about the day ahead, pause for a few breaths. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel your body waking with life. This quiet moment is your anchor, a reminder that peace starts from within. Even 1 minute of mindful breathing sets a tone of calm for the entire day. You're telling your mind, "I choose awareness, not anxiety." 2. When anxiety arises, observe, don't resist. During the day, whenever you feel tension building, take a slow breath and gently remind yourself, "This thought will pass like a cloud." Don't fight it, don't push it away. Watch it drift. This simple act changes everything. It breaks the loop of reaction and creates space between you and your worries. 3. Practice self-compassion. Be your own ally. Most of us are kind to others, but harsh toward ourselves. We expect perfection, and when we fall short, we punish our hearts with guilt and judgment. But healing begins with gentleness. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Whisper, "It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to not be okay." This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The Buddha taught that compassion is not just for others, but for oneself. When you embrace your imperfections, anxiety loses its sting. 4. Create moments of stillness. Reconnect with peace. In the middle of a busy life, find small oases of quiet. It could be a few minutes in nature, watching the sky, listening to the sound of rain, or simply sitting in silence. Stillness is not emptiness, it's nourishment for the soul. Each quiet moment resets your energy, allowing you to meet the world with more clarity and grace. 5. Let time be your teacher. Patience and persistence. Change doesn't happen overnight. Some days anxiety will still come like waves. That's natural. But with practice, you'll notice a shift. The waves no longer drown you. They pass and you remain. Over time, your mind becomes steady, like a mountain unmoved by the wind. Anxiety might visit, but it no longer rules your inner world. When you begin to live this way, anxiety transforms from an enemy into a messenger. It becomes a gentle reminder that you've drifted away from the present moment and an invitation to return. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom, to use even discomfort as a doorway to awareness. Remember, peace is not built in grand moments. It's cultivated in the quiet choices you make each day. When you breathe consciously, speak kindly, and pause instead of reacting, you are already healing. So start small. Be patient. Be kind. And trust that each mindful breath is leading you home, to stillness, to strength, to serenity. As the mind becomes gentler through meditation, a new challenge appears: how to keep that calm while moving through the noise of everyday life. Inner peace is not meant to stay only on the cushion. It's meant to walk with us into the world. And now, we move to the next part of this journey: living mindfully in a modern world. In the rush of modern life, mindfulness becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. The Buddha's teaching is timeless. It was never meant just for temples or monasteries, but for our homes, our workplaces, our relationships. Each ordinary act, walking, eating, washing dishes, can become a gate to awakening if done with full awareness. 1. Bringing mindfulness into daily life. When you walk, just walk. Feel your feet touch the ground. Notice the rhythm of your breath, the movement of your body. When you eat, just eat. Taste the food fully, recognizing that each bite is a gift from the earth, from countless beings who contributed to this moment. Even when washing dishes, let your awareness rest in the warmth of the water, the sound of bubbles, the sensation of cleansing not just plates, but your own mind. In this way, life itself becomes a meditation. Every moment, no matter how simple, becomes sacred. 2. Seeing impermanence as liberation. When anxiety rises, remind yourself gently, everything changes. This too shall pass. This is not just a phrase. It is a profound realization. When we understand impermanence, we stop clinging. And when clinging ends, fear begins to dissolve. The Buddha taught that all things arise and fade away, just as waves form and vanish on the ocean. You are the ocean, not the waves. 3. Cultivating compassion for yourself. When anxiety visits, instead of resisting it, meet it with tenderness. Whisper to yourself, it's okay to feel this. This simple act transforms suffering into softness. Compassion is not pity, it is strength and gentleness. It allows us to be fully human, to feel deeply without being crushed by emotion. 4. Creating a mindful environment. Peace also needs the right soil to grow. If possible, create a small corner of stillness in your home, a space with a candle, a small plant, or an image that brings calm. Or spend time in nature, where silence speaks the language of truth. Nature is the greatest teacher of mindfulness. The trees do not hurry, yet everything gets done. 5. Turning anxiety into practice. In Buddhist psychology, anxiety isn't an obstacle, but an invitation to look deeply. Every moment of unease can reveal where we're still attached, whether to control, to approval, or to certainty. When you feel anxiety, don't rush to fix it. Instead, breathe and observe. What is this teaching me? In this way, anxiety becomes a teacher, not a tyrant. 6. Living with less desire, more contentment. Much of modern anxiety arises from wanting too much or fearing loss. The Buddha's path of less craving, more contentment, Tu Duk Tri Tuk, reminds us, peace isn't found in having more, but in needing less. Simplicity is not poverty, it's freedom. When you know that enough is enough, worry naturally fades. 7. Connecting with a mindful community. Isolation fuels anxiety. Connection heals it. Join a meditation group, listen to Dharma talks, or simply share your journey with others walking the same path. A Sangha, a mindful community, offers support, reflection, and warmth. Together, we remember what peace feels like. 8. Bringing wisdom into daily choices. Before reacting or deciding, pause. Ask yourself, is this coming from fear or from understanding? This single breath of awareness can transform your day. Acting from clarity rather than chaos turns ordinary life into a living expression of the Dharma. Ultimately, mindfulness isn't about escaping the world. It's about awakening within it. Every breath, every step, every thought can be a reminder. You are here. You are alive. And peace is already within you, waiting to be noticed. There comes a moment in every inner journey when we realize peace was never something to chase. It was always here, quietly waiting beneath the noise of our thoughts. Anxiety, fear, uncertainty. These are not enemies to be fought, but teachers inviting us to return home to ourselves. Through mindfulness, compassion, and the wisdom of impermanence, we begin to see that everything we experience, joy, sorrow, gain, loss, is part of the great rhythm of life. When we stop clinging and resisting, life flows through us effortlessly, like wind through an open field. Every breath becomes a chance to begin again. Every moment of awareness becomes a step toward freedom. True peace is not about eliminating pain, but about learning to hold it with gentleness. It is sitting with your anxiety and whispering, "You are safe. You can rest now." The Buddha once said that enlightenment is simply the end of suffering through understanding. When we understand our mind, we don't need to run from it anymore. When we embrace what we used to reject, healing begins naturally, like sunlight melting morning frost. So if you've walked with me through this journey, I invite you to pause for a breath. Feel the stillness behind the words. Notice how your heart softens, how even a little space of awareness can change everything. Your practice doesn't end here. It begins here. Tomorrow, when the waves of worry rise again, remember this moment. Remember that peace is not somewhere else. It is right here, inside you, always waiting to be seen. If this message touched something within you, share in the comments what peace means to you today. Let's grow this space together, a community of awareness, kindness, and gentle strength. In the next video, we'll continue this journey of awakening, deeper, calmer, more alive. Until then, may your breath be your home and your heart your teacher.